The key of successfully growing plants in container is the potting mix or soil preparation. Select the right potting mix recipe for your plants and they will grow vigorously without any issue. Although every gardener has his or her own secret recipe for potting mix, but in general it should be lightweight, well draining, but at the same time it should also hold proper moisture and it should contain enough organic matter and nutrients to support your plant's need. But for me, along with all this, most importantly, it should be very cheap, easy to make and universal so that you can use it for almost any plants, whether it may be your favorite vegetable or fruit or any flowering or ornamental plants. In today's episode, we'll learn how to make such perfect universal potting mix for container gardens. So without wasting any time, let's begin. Welcome back to my channel Grow and More. Let's look at the ingredients for today's DIY potting mix recipe for all types of plants. The first ingredient we'll be using is coco peat. It is fully organic, lightweight and has almost neutral pH, and it's very cheap as well. It's even more economic if you can buy a solid block of coco peat and break it down by adding water. There is a video on how to do this in my channel, you can check that out. The disadvantages of using coco peat are that it lacks proper nutrients to support a mature plant and also it holds too much water. That's why some people prefer to use a mixture of garden soil and coco peat. I'll come to that point later towards the end of this video. We will use about 4 parts of coco peat. When I say part, I mean proportion or ratio. It's a generic quantity of measurement. It could be anything like a 4-inch pot or even a big 14-inch container or anything, whichever is available to you. The next ingredient we'll be using is vermicompost or worm casting, 3 parts. It is the end product of decomposition process of vegetable or food waste or any organic matter by some species of worms, usually the red wigglers. It is very rich in nutrients. It has the proper amount of NPK ratio, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, and also contains various other micro and macro elements which the plants need. Alternatively, you can use properly decomposed cow dung or leaf compost or your own homemade compost made from food scraps and food waste. You don't need to add too much compost, just 3 parts will be sufficient. The disadvantage of using vermicompost or any types of compost is that it again holds too much water. So if you use only a mixture of coco peat and compost, it will make the potting medium with too much water retaining capacity and that's not good for plant's root system. Then you will have many problems like fungus, root rot or even your plants can die. So we need something which will make it well draining. And for that, we will add the next 2 ingredients. First one is perlite. These white pieces, it looks like popcorns. If you don't know what the perlite is, you can check out one of my video regarding this from the link given in the I button. Perlite is an excellent choice for soil-less potting medium due to its lightweight and well draining property. We will add 1 part of perlite. And finally, we will add fine sand or construction sand. You might need to strain the sand as well if it has larger pebbles or larger particles. We will add 1 part of sand in general. If you don't have perlite, then you can add 2 parts of sand instead of the perlite. Sand is very well draining as well as it can hold moisture to some extent. We will add 4 parts of coco peat, 3 parts vermicompost or any compost, 1 part perlite and 1 part sand. And if you don't have perlite, then 2 parts of sand. In either case, total 9 parts. Note that I prefer my potting mix to be soilless. If you really want to add some garden soil, make sure it doesn't contain any weed seeds, disease, pest or insect or any other harmful pathogens. In that case, you can take 3 parts garden soil, 2 parts coco peat, 3 parts compost and 1 part sand. Again total 9 parts. There is no benefit of adding perlite if you are using garden soil. Now add all these ingredients one by one. 4 parts coco peat, 3 parts compost. If you find some solid chunks in the compost you bought, you can strain those out using a strainer and that will help to create even better and consistent potting mix. 1 part perlite and 1 part sand. Mix all this thoroughly. Now you can also add some organic slow release fertilizer to make it more nutrient rich. This is completely optional. You can add, for example, 3 tablespoons of seaweed, which is an excellent source of organic potassium. About 4 tablespoons of neem cake fertilizer. In addition to its NPK values, it's also good for repelling some pests and insects away from your potting medium. And about 2 spoons of bone meal. It is very rich in phosphorus and calcium. Remember that these are all organic fertilizers and there is no strict ratio of adding them. Only thing you should keep in mind that you should not add this fertilizer more than 5% of your total final potting mix. Now your potting mix is ready to use. You can use this potting mix in any types of plants and seedlings except those who do not like moisture at all, like cacti and succulents. The pH value of the final potting mix is slightly acidic, which is good for most of the plants. You can also use this potting mix to start your seeds. I have tried it and it's very good as well. Particularly, it's excellent for the mature plants. Just to give you an example, see how quickly the water is draining away from the container, but still it holds sufficient water. That will be all for today. If you find the video useful, please like, comment and share, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much and see you next time in a brand new episode at Grow and More.